Well, I hope that little tune from an album CD called Women of Ireland. Karen Ashbrook, who is a great whistle player and hammer dulcimer player, and you can see there's some Celtic harps and a guitar, and what else do they have on here? Penny whistle, button accordion, boron. Very Irish. So, a great album, and if you've ever had the opportunity to take a workshop or class with Karen Ashbrook, she's great. Anyway, so here we are. Spirit Jam 27, which is, I guess, a good number to end on. Now that things have opened up and people are jamming in person and the weather getting warmer, we'll be playing outside. I think it's time to retire this. So Terry did the decorations, and I came down to approve them. And I noticed that this picture is hanging here is the sunflowers, and these are the colors of the Ukraine. And I thought, wow, that's really quite nice to have that and to think and send a prayer for the Ukrainian people who are suffering right now. But even with their suffering, there's music being played. I've noticed 2 tunes that are out on Facebook. The Ukrainian national anthem that Mark Allen Wade put an arrangement on, and something else came in my inbox, a waltz. So I haven't tried them yet, but I look forward to doing that. And I left my hammers off camera. I'll be right back. All right, so I hope as you're coming on, you are saying hi to everybody and telling us where you're playing from and what you're playing tonight if you play multiple instruments. It's nice to see you, Kathy and Caroline and Bree. Good to have you back. I watched the puppies. We have quite a few people that have puppies that are growing up. And we've had quite a few people that are dealing with health issues. So prayers for all of you with whatever challenge you may have. This is a Silver Strings Spirit Jam, and our jams always begin with Westphalia Waltz. So let's give that a whirl. Oops. Am I on? Yep, there I am. Sometimes I don't know if I'm here or not, but here I am. I've told the story many times about Westphalia, that it's really a Polish waltz, and it got the name Westphalia when it was brought to the States by a GI who was from Westphalia. Here in Michigan, we have a Westphalia, but that's not the Westphalia he was from. He was from Westphalia, Texas. So let's begin. Since it's an Irish night and we love the Irish, we need to start out with a jig. And one of Silver Strings' favorite jigs is Bellman's jig. And so here we go with Bellman's jig. We're going to play it 3 times, and it's in the key of G. The next tune has several names. We learned it in our club as Cockles and Mussels, but a lot of people know it as Molly Malone. And Molly, there's a tune to it, a song, and it's a song about Molly Malone, who was a young and very beautiful fishmonger who sold fish in the streets of Dublin. And tells about Molly Malone going through the streets and selling her fish. And of course, being Irish, there's always death in most of their tunes. There's love and marriage too, but death seems to be a common theme. And so she ends up dying of a fever, and then she haunts the city from there on. So in 1988, they erected a statue representing Molly Malone. She's quite a voluptuous lady. And in fact, one of our Spirit Jam people, Linda Shoesmith, posted a picture of that statue that you can still see in Dublin. So they've even made a special holiday for her on June 13th. And so anyway, we're going to play Molly Malone. If you feel like singing that last chorus, it's alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, low, selling cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. And quite often when we play this for seniors living centers, they join us in the chorus of it. So let's play Cockles and Mussels in D 4 times. Alive, alive, oh, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. So there are just tons of people in Irish tunes, and they're named after all different types of people, and a lot of tunes have different Irish names depending on who learned it from whom. So the next tune, Dennis Murphy's Polka, is also called Casey's Polka, it's called Sweeney's Polka, it's called O'Leary's Polka, it's called Tian's Polka. But we call it Dennis Murphy's Polka because he was, I guess, a very well-known fiddler, and he was born in a musical family, and I can't say Gaelic, so I won't tell you where he's from, but it's in a region that is at the intersection of 3 counties. County Cork, County Kerry, and Limerick. So if you've been to Ireland and you know that corner, then you know where he's from. And he is known for a particular musical style, and it's an area that's produced a lot of musicians. So he was born on the Kerry side of that corner. His mom was Bill and Mamie Murphy. And so he lived in the United States for a while too, which might be why we have several tunes about Dennis Murphy. So let's try this. It's in the key of D, and we're going to play it 3 times. We just celebrated a few days ago. St. Patrick's Day was my mother's birthday, and one of my aunts who turned 99 years old on St. Patrick's Day. And I don't think she did any pub crawling that night, and she's not at all Irish, but we have a significant Irish population in the Detroit area. So there were a lot of people out celebrating on St. Patrick's Day itself. So the Irish polkas are different from German polkas and Polish polkas, but they're polkas nonetheless. So we're in the polka mood, so let's do one more. It's called Egan's Polka, also known as Peg Ryan's. So sometimes we play this because our president, Peggy, for her. And it's also very well known as the Kerry Polka. So I don't know if it's because it was written in that area of Kerry County. I don't know, but this particular tune is over in 1,000 different tune books. I think because it's not hard to play, and it's been recorded a number of times, usually in a medley because it's a pretty short polka. So we've medleyed it ourselves with Neil Fee's polka, Nelfie's Polka, and also Bally Desmond number 2. But tonight we're just going to play it straight 4 times. It's in the key of D. Last time. So how did you celebrate St. Patrick's Day if you celebrated? Did you play a tune? Did you go and gather with people, decorate your house, have Irish food? I really like soda bread. I don't know if you've ever had soda bread, but that's one of my favorite Irish things. And in Redford Township where we lived, there was a Scottish-Irish bakery, and they used to always have soda bread at around St. Patrick's Day. Really good. Somebody would bring it into work. So the next tune we're going to play, Hewlett, which was called Planks to Hewlett, was a tune written by Turlogh O'Carolan, and he was a blind harpist. He lost his sight at the age of 18 from smallpox. Smallpox was a dreadful disease. When they finally got a vaccine for that, people were really happy because it was a horrible disease. But anyway, he became trained as a harpist, and he was an itinerant musician that went around. He had a guide and a couple horses to make his way through Ireland, and he wrote a lot of tunes, and he had patrons. So every patron he would write tunes for, and I think in total he wrote about 200 tunes that somebody later on notated. And he didn't get married till he was 50 years old, but he ended up with 7 kids, so he was active guy. So anyway, there is still a festival in the county Roscommon, not Michigan, but in Ireland, that has a festival in the school that commemorates his life and his work. And if a lot of times at festivals, Hammer Dulcimer festivals, they'll have jams that are devoted to just O'Carolan tunes, and quite often you can learn one of his tunes, and there's a lot of them, and they're really quite beautiful. This one's called Hewlett, and it was he was one of O'Carolan's patrons. So let's try it. It's in the key of D, and we'll play it 3 times. There's some, I think it's Eyeless Mears who wrote a very nice three-part harmony of this particular piece. It's in one of her books if you have people that you like to play ensemble type music with. So anyway, I just tell you that because, you know, our musicians, our workshop leaders and teachers have had a hard struggle the last couple of years. So whatever way we can support them as the festivals open up and we start going to them and they're producing music, and some of them are on Patreon where you can have access to their music and help support them. Music just uplifts the energy of the world. So, and they work hard and they've struggled like so many of us, but I sure do appreciate them. And I'm looking forward to the festivals of this year. Are you going to any festivals? And what ones are coming up and that you're going to, that you plan to take a workshop of some sort? Share what it is, where do you think you're going and what you think you're going to take, and who you plan to have a workshop with. Actually, I'm doing a couple workshops at Everett this year with friends. It's a collaborative effort. So if you're going to Everett, whenever that schedule's out, I'm going to be on it. As well as Silver Strings. If you saw the website, Silver Strings is on the performance list for the stage shows. Pretty exciting. All right, so the next tune is Fanny Power. Fanny Power was a young gal when O'Caroline met her. She was the daughter of some patrons, Mr. and Mrs. Power. And she wrote this tune for him, and it later became known as Madame Trench's piece because she got married to Mr. Trench, so they had to change the name. Back then, you didn't keep your maiden name in the 1600s. So let's play Fanny Power, and it's in the key of G, and we'll play it 3 times. The next tune is a new tune for us. It's called Father Kelly's. And it's also been called the Rossmore Jetty, because I think it was Father Kelly wrote this, and it was the jetty was a pier over the River Shannon near his hometown of Woodford in East Galloway. So it's been added. It's a very popular tune. It's been added in over 900 tune books, and it's often combined with a tune that Silver Strings does play, St. Anne's Reel. And then it's often also combined with the Silver Spear. So Irish priests, we've had, in Detroit, there's a whole section of town called Corktown. And there was a number of Catholic churches there, and I don't know if they ever had a Father Kelly, but Kelly is like a very common Irish name, both as a first name and the last name. In fact, one of my nieces is a Kelly Harris, and a quarter of my family actually came from Ireland, some in the north and some in the south. So Kelly, have you ever known any Kellys? In Detroit, we had a lot of politicians, and half of them were named Kelly. There's Jack Kelly. He was a councilman for years, and then his son, Kevin, was also very involved in Wayne County politics, and in Redford, quite frankly. So, Kelly, you know anybody named Kelly? In fact, we have at least one Kelly that sometimes comes to the Spirit Jam. I think she lives up near Bay City. So Kelly, if you're with us tonight, hi. All right, let's try this. It's in the key of G. We're going to play it 3 times. So today was kind of cloudy, damp, and the wind was out of the east, which always means bad weather's coming. But we've had some really nice days lately, really nice. In fact, I've seen some of you posting on Facebook, hanging your clothing outside on the line after washing. And so, you know, spring's coming. We've been out watching the flowers come up through the ground, and So it's just like springtime is here, and we've had the first official day of spring, which means nothing in Michigan because, of course, we'll have snow at least 2 more times. But if not snow, it'll rain. But those wonderful sunny days, you just can't beat them. And it's the time of renewal when the flowers start looking and coming up, and you look around, and you think, okay, I got to get out there because the rabbits are going to get to them before they get to be a blossom. So what are you renewing right now as you look forward to the rest of this year? Are you back to jamming with your group? Are you going on a trip? Are you going to have a reunion that maybe you haven't had in a couple of years? Are you going to a festival? What kind of things are you looking forward to doing as we go through this season of renewal? And while we're doing that, when you're thinking about that, we're going to play Irish Washerwoman. It's another jig, and it's one of the most favorite jigs we play when we have a crowd. One time we were playing at a farmer's market last year, and the guy was so thrilled he gave us the biggest tip I think we ever had. So Irish Washerwoman, and I think it'll only take her 3 times to get the clothes done, don't you think? Let's try it. It's in the key of G, and here we go. The next tune I put in just because I felt like it. Irish Washerman. Today, there's hardly any job that isn't open to both sexes. Now, back in the day when I graduated from high school, I won't tell you what year that was, but it was like a multiple choice test. You had 4 things. You could get married. A lot of people got married very young then. You could be a secretary. You could be a nurse. Not many doctors, but a nurse. Or you could be a teacher. And that was kind of the general things. But now you find nurses that are men and women. You find house husbands because the wife has the better job. You find a little bit more choices. Sometimes I think almost too many. I don't know about you, but my grandchildren, they've got so many options, they're totally overwhelmed. So we're going to play Irish Washerman. And as you know, men do not do things the same way women do. So it's not a jig. It's in 4/4 time. It's in the key of G, and we're going to play it 3 times. I know I said 4, but this guy's efficient. He gets it done quickly.
It's a fast one. 4 times.
You want to do it 4 times?
Yes, let's do it 4 times.
Okay. Yep. He's so efficient, he beat me to the start. Well, I think we got a lot of clean clothes between the two, working together. And if you ever want to try something different, a lot of our tunes can be done in different meters, if you will. Like Hangman's Reel can be played as a jig, and it's quite fun to play as a jig. And Star of the County Down, which we play in 3/4, is often played as a hymn during the Lenten season in 4/4. And so, try it out sometime. You might have a good time with it. The next tune is Jamie Allen. And Jamie Allen was the small pipes player, and he was, I guess he had a checkerboard life. He was quite a colorful character, and I don't know why, and maybe I don't want to know. But he was a musician, and this is a tune, and I don't know if it's called by other names or not, but we know it as Jamie Allen, and so we'll play it in G 3 times. The next tune is called Jer the Rigger, and I've seen Jer as J-E-R or G-E-R, and spelled two different ways. And it's also called O'Sullivan's Fancy, and it's a polka. But, I thought, well, what is a rigger? And so when I was looking that up, it's the name for several different types of jobs. Somebody that specializes in lifting and moving of heavy objects, I imagine, because you have to rig up an apparatus to a pulley or something like that, so that would be a rigger. It's also a carpenter that roofs houses, and I don't know how that applies to the rigger, and if he was a sailor, which a lot of people in Ireland were, and he worked in the ports, he was the one who took care of all the riggings on the mast, the ropes, the cables, and the chains that need to be in working order for the ship to sail right. So this is a polka. It's in the key of A. And we don't play, as hammer dulcimers, in the key of A too much, but it's a nice change for the ear to play in another key. And this, because it doesn't really have a G sharp, they've made it natural, makes it really easy to play all up and down the left side of the bridge, treble bridge. So let's give it a try. How many times are we playing this? 4 times. Do I have that 4? Or are we going to play it 3? Well, let's play it 4 times. As I was playing that, I could just picture this guy going up and down the mast and swinging with the ropes and all of that. So, Jer the Rigger, or O'Sullivan's Fancy, depending on who you learned it from. The next tune, John Stenson, he was an accordion player from the county Sligo. And he wrote a number of pieces. This is number 2, but he wrote a number 1 and a number 3, and I wouldn't know those at all. But they're all dance tunes, and he was an accordion player, so you can just imagine. And this is also in the key of A, and this particular tune sounds really good, medleyed with Hangman's Reel. They're both in the key of A, and they go together like peanut butter and jelly. So, what's your favorite medley? That's a good question to ask, because everybody's played them. I'm sure people like to medley things, because some of the tunes we play are so short, so you need something to add on to them. Sometimes they medley 2 or maybe even 3 pieces together. If you get some of the CDs from people, they'll have 3 tunes all medleyed together. What's your favorite medley? I think one of Silver Strings is probably Road to Liz Navarna, Riding on a Load of Hay. That's a favorite one. And what other medley do we play quite often?
Well, John Stenson and Hangman's Reel. That's a very popular one.
Can you think of any others that we play? Well, you guys will remind me. I am sure. All right. How many times are we playing this? 3? 3 times in the key of A. Is this the 3rd time? One more time. So for Silver Strings members, the last 2 years have been not business as usual at all. And we used to have introduced new tunes in a different way. But with Spirit Jams, since we're all in our own little places and nobody can hear us, it's given us an opportunity to just throw some new tunes out there and see if anything sticks to the wall. And so, as you know, we've already played a couple of new tunes. Of course, it means I have to learn them since I'm got to start them and play them and not flub them up too bad. But I've also been blessed by so many of you to share tunes that you play and say, could we play this, and suggest that. So it's given me opportunity to learn some new tunes so that when I come to a strange jam, I will already know some of the tunes that they play. And I was talking today to a friend in Missouri who, that was one of the things she liked about the Spirit Jam, that was introducing music. So if they ever come to Michigan and visit Silver Strings, they're going to know some of our tunes. And if we go there, they'll be able to play those tunes with us there as well. So the next tune is our Erin, and it means, it's also called For Ireland, I'll Not Tell Her Name. So although all these tunes have somebody's name in them, we don't know what her name is, because he's not telling. And it was from a text in the 18th century, and the singer has loved somebody, and it's her intended, but she lives with her rich parents who probably don't approve too much of him. And he dreams about getting married to her and sailing away somewhere, maybe to the U.S. What do you think? But until that actually happens, he doesn't want to jinx himself. You know, some of the Irish are pretty superstitious. Have you ever had anything, superstitious little thing you do to court good luck? So he isn't telling her name because he doesn't want to jinx it. So let's play this For Ireland, I'll Not Tell Her Name, since I can't pronounce the Irish version of it. And it's a slow air. So here we go. It's in the key of D. Did I say we're playing it 3 times? Yeah. The next one is, we played this at our last jam, Silver Strings Jam. We all wore green. It was Irish night that night too. And we played this, and everybody got to jump in and do that one part, you know. You want to do the second part, the second time through? Okay. All right, so John Ryan's Polka. It's in the key of D. And I don't need to say anything about it. You guys know it. So let's play it. Okay, we're going to do another jig. This one's called Kitty Mcgee. And Kitty, I imagine, is a nickname for Catherine. What do you think? And Mcgee is a very common name. In fact, one of our Silver Spirit Jam followers is a Mcgee, Linda Mcgee. She's had some health challenges, and I hope she's doing okay. So Kitty Mcgee is a jig, and you know, there's something about jigs that when we play jigs out, more people get up and dance when we're playing a jig than probably anything else. Well, they like waltzes too, if they don't fall asleep. But they like our music to be lively, and with a jig, they're just, because it's a 1-2, they really like to dance. So we're going to do Kitty Mcgee. It's in the key of D, and we'll do it 3 times. What's your favorite jig to play? Think about it. Another style of tune that I associate with the Irish are hornpipes. And there's quite a number of them. But we're going to play a hornpipe, and it's called Boys of Blue Hill. So it's not names, but it's the boys from a certain town. You know the boys of Blue Hill? Do you know the boys of Plymouth? Or do you know the boys of Livonia? They come, and so this is a hornpipe. And Blue Hills is actually west of Bantry in County Cork, opposite Whiddy Island, if you happen to go there. They call this tune Silver Lake and Twin Sisters, but this particular tune was a tune that was collected by a man whose name is Francis O'Neill. He was Irish born, and his family immigrated to the United States, and he married an Irish gal, Anne Rogers, when she was from County Clare. And they were both passionate about Irish music. So he started gathering tunes because he wound up in Chicago. And he had the gift of being able to accurately memorize any tune he heard, like almost immediately. You've seen some players like that, I'm sure. Within a minute, they know the tune and they can play it back for you. But he was never able to read or write music. So he was in Chicago, and he became the chief of police in the early 1900s. And by the early 1900s, there were 250,000 Irish people in the Chicago area. So he had one of his sergeants, whose name was also O'Neill, write down the music, and he would hum it, and or he would, whistle it, whatever. Whistling's a lost art too. But anyway, if he didn't know what the title was, he would rename it after the person whom he heard playing it. And he decided he wanted to get these things published, and nobody, who wants to hear Irish music? So he self-published it, and he ended up publishing 8 books of Irish tunes, and the first one had, this was in one of his books, and the first book had 1,850 Irish melodies. And he had 8 books altogether. So can you imagine what a legacy that is for Irish music? Francis O'Neill. So let's do this hornpipe. The Boys of Blue Hill is in the key of D. And, hornpipes have that syncopation. So that's the thing you've got to remember with that. One more time. Okay, Larry O'Gaff. Who was Larry O'Gaff? I don't really know, but the tune is from a nonsensical farce, I guess. It was a stage Irish song that was used in the minstrel early vaudeville stage, so it probably wasn't genuinely Irish, although it was based on what they think the Irish was, and it is a jig, so you know, we'll see. There were words to it, and I don't know if if you can find the words anymore, but it's normally played as just a jig. It's kind of a happy jig. So let's try it. It's in the key of G. We'll play it 3 times. Okay, Dunmore, the Dunmore Lasses. The Dunmore Lasses, Dunmore means a big fort. It's from the Celtic, big fort. And the fiddler that made this tune popular's name was Paddy Carty. And he recorded the tune as something else, and he named it something else. But anyway, it's become known as the Dunmore Lasses. And like we've talked about the Boys of Blue Hill, well then there's the Lasses, the Dunmore Lasses. And, you know, the ladies from, maybe they met halfway in between, the Boys of Blue Hill and the Dunmore Lasses. I don't know. But anyway, Dunmore Lasses is in E minor, and we'll play this one 3 times. And when you were in high school, did you hang around with a bunch of girls that we're kind of a group, or a sorority, or we had a clique. I didn't belong to any, so I was just a lass. A lass and a lass. All right, Dunmore Lasses. Let's play it 3 times. Let me start again. Oh, heck, why am I having such trouble with this? I gotta try it a different way. Sorry. As I said at the beginning, this will be our last Spirit Jam. And I don't know if we're going to come back, but it's been quite a journey since the first time we did this in April of 2020. And it's been really surprising to us, all of the connections we have made in the community that's kind of sprung up as a result of this. And the staying connected was been very important to a lot of people. And we look forward to getting back on track with regular jamming and regular life, whatever that means, whatever the new normal is. So we might, though, come back in the fall, because I would not like this to be the end of, just disconnecting, pulling the plug and saying, okay, we're done. We don't need life support anymore. I think we do need support each other, regardless of where we're from. So if we run across you at a festival, please look us up and come say hi, and I'll make you a cup of coffee or something. And, whatever you do, I hope you stay with the music and have a group or create a group, because it's just genuinely life-affirming to play together. And it certainly has been for us. It's been quite interesting, I have to tell you, because when we started out, didn't know if we could even do this. I'm not techie, very. Thank God I have Terry. He figures it all out. Well, and as you know, if you've been with us, it's been a lot of trial and error, and hopefully not as much as it's been pleasurable. So I thank you for your patience with us, with the sound, with the, the mistakes I make and everything else. So thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us in this venture. The next tune we're going to play is Morrison's Jig, and this is popular traditional jig, and it's made famous by an American fiddle player, James Morrison. So he recorded it. So somebody decided to name it Morrison's Jig, but who knows what it really started out as. It's been called The Cry of the Celter, Morris Carmody's Favorite, and The Stick Across the Hob. We're playing Morrison's Jig, E minor 3 times. Is this one okay. All right, how many red-headed Irish people do you know? I can think of one from Everett, Paula. She's a redhead Irish gal. And as I said, I have a lot of Irish in me, and I have a nephew who is Irish, and his sister was also redhead, but 2 different kinds of reds. She had the really dark red, the really auburn red, and he had the real called strawberry blonde kind of red. But anyway, this is about a red-haired boy whose name is not known. So you know how you can't always remember somebody's name in a crowd? Just pick the red-haired boy and you're set. All right, so let's do the red-haired boy. It's in the key of A 3 times. Oh, we got our signals a little mixed up. Oh, I'm watching. And, all right, so, young Roddy McCorley. Oh, this is a Silver Strings favorite. And you all know the story of Roddy McCorley. He was working with protesting treatment of from local landlords in the area of County Antrim. And he went into hiding because they weren't winning, and they caught him. An informer betrayed him. So he was court-martialed, and he was found guilty. And he was actually marched to the Tombs Bridge and hung on Good Friday in 1799. And they buried his body beneath the gallows. So the ballad about his story was written long after the event that occurred, but it was in her hometown, and so she wrote this, the ballad, and then the tune probably even came later than that. So let's play Young Roddy. It's in the key of D 3 times. The next tune is another jig. This one's Dusty Bob's jig. It's an American jig, not an Irish jig. And it was first published as Jack's Alive. But Jack, that's quite often Irish name, and it comes from about the 18th century. So it's in a bunch of different publications. And who Dusty Bob was, I don't know, maybe he was one of the, what do they call those, chimney sweeps. Maybe that's why he was Dusty Bob. Anyway, let's play it 3 times. It's in the key of G as well. tune is one that was shared with me by somebody who knew that we were going to be doing this and wanted people to learn this tune. It's a traditional Irish tune, and it is another one that appears in one of Francis O'Neill's books of Music of Ireland. And he called it an American version of Seamus, James O'Brien. So it's Seamus O'Brien. And it's an air, and it's been popular, so it's come around again, and this time it was from one of you that shared it with me and asked if we could play it sometime. So we're going to play it, Seamus O'Brien. It's in the key of G, and we'll play it, how many times? 3 times? 3 times. So we're almost to the end. I think we just have 2 more tunes. It's been a pleasure to be playing with you tonight, and we're really glad that you took your time to come and play with us. The next tune is The Parting Glass, and this was one that was selected sometime and given to me from Kim Houston of the group in Lambs up in the middle of the state. And it's the parting glass is like the last toast of the evening, and they have one more drink for the road, so to speak. And they raise their glass and wish everybody joy and a good life. And so they play this at the end of their jams as a rule. It's their tradition. And the Irish are noted for their blessings. If you open or Google Irish blessings, there's probably 1,000 of them. So my question to you as we finish this series of spirit jams is, if you know an Irish blessing, would you share it with all of us? Since it'll be sending us off with just this last parting glass. So this is in the key of E minor, and we're going to play it 3 times, I think. Is that what we're playing, honey? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to play it 3 times. So it really, at the end, is it's Good Night and Joy Be With You. It's a... Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it's been sung in Ireland. It's originally a Scottish tune, but the Irish have given it their own flavor. And it's a farewell song. The man's leaving Ireland, and it's probably coming to America. And it also, this melody became a hymn that was well done and a favorite of shape note singers. So it's been recorded a number of times, and you can hear Pierce Brosnan sing it in a 2002 movie, Evelyn. So let's play this 3 times. One more time. So if we have the Facebook page, which will remain, and I'll try to keep it somewhat active. I'm not sure exactly what I will do with that. If you have some suggestions, or if there's something you want to see on it, let me know. You can message me, or we'll see you at a festival, and we can talk about it. We do have a Silver Strings Campout Week. If you're a Silver Strings member and you haven't yet contacted our wagon master to tell him that you're coming, it's in June 8th
through the 14th.
And you can come for the whole time or just part of the time. And if you're in that area, it's going to be at Groveland Oaks Park, which is in Oakland County near Holly. So if you're from that area or not real far and you want to just come for the day, there are day passes to the park. It's a metro park, so there's a fee to get into the park, unless you're an Oakland County resident. So you can check the information. It'll be in our newsletter, and I'd like to see you. So think about it. All right, so this is it. We're to Amazing Grace, and Grace is amazing, and I certainly do wish it for all of you. Till we see you again, and we'll play it 4 times. I'm not sure I'm going to sing tonight. My voice seems to go in and out, but we'll see, maybe. Anyway, let's play Amazing Grace in the key of G. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Good night, everybody. Have a great year, and we'll hopefully see you.